track position today, and it was Beloff last season who won from pole position here. Track position today, and it was Beloff last season who won from pole position here. So here we go for the first of 44 laps. They are off at the start. Bourdais looks like he's got the best run. Redon back in the pack passes Johnny Adam. What can Stomlin do? He's a known brilliant overtaker, and he's looking to make a move on Wilson. They switch positions briefly, but it's Wilson who holds that position as Bourdais leads out of the first and second corner, and Depaille's got past Stomlin and Wilson. Depaille with a brilliant start up to 4th place, and Stomlin loses out again. He's down to 7th. Guerrero takes 6th place from Stomlin, but can he get it back into turn 4? Looks like he can. So Bourdais still leads comfortably by almost a second over Joe Siffert. Then it's Boisel holding 3rd, then Wilson. Depaille is past Stomlin, but Stomlin's fought back to stay ahead of Guerrero. Redon with a good start as Cheever and Adam battle at the back of the top 10. Ravenstuck's drop all the way to the back. But in the championship picture, it is Bourdais who leads at the moment. I think he's going to have a gap of over a second by the end of the first lap. This is really the sort of performance that Bourdais needed to put in this season. He lost the win on the final lap at Spa to Stomlin, which started Stomlin's great runs of victories. He lost out on the final lap to Dougal at Barcelona, which cost him more points. But today he leads. Guerrero past Stomlin at the end of the middle section. Johnny Adam as well, making up positions again. A good drive by Johnny Adam at the moment, but Redon goes back past into the final corner. I wonder if Stomlin will find himself under threat on the run down to turn 1. Stomlin, of course, is the only rookie in this championship fight, and only one driver has won the championship in their second season, which was Keke Rosberg, who won it back-to-back in his first and second seasons. Every other champion in AIF Star history has been a rookie, but Bourdais, Wiesel and Dougal are all, well, Bourdais in his second season, the other two are in their third season, so it would certainly go against the grade. But Bourdais leads comfortably at the moment, over a second and a half over Joe Siffert. Boisel a further second back with Wilson, Depaille in tow. Guerrero keeping Stomlin behind now, and Adams dropped back as Cheever and Wiesel are both past. The hard runners now starting to come forward. A personal best sector for Bourdais, best of the race in Sector 1. He extends his lead over Joe Siffert. Joe Siffert, very consistent this season. He's 6th in the championship, but no race wins. His teammate Pantano has 2. Of course, Siffert did win a race last season, in fact beating out Pantano in Abu Dhabi. But this season he is yet to stand on the top step, and as the way things are going at the moment, it's Bourdais who's looking best placed for the moment. But of course, as we approach lap 3, DRS and boost will be enabled, and we are very vocal opponents of boost being used by the AI in this game, because they tend to use it in a manner that is not particularly tactical, and it's all very random, and it kind of interferes with the race. But let's see who is going to be the first to jam on their boost and overheat their tyres as we start lap 3. It looks like Siffert's going after Bourdais. And Redon, Stomlin change positions briefly, but nothing doing. Same with Wiesel and Cheever. Nothing happens because, well, that's just how the boost really goes in this situation. Siffert's closed up to Bourdais, not under threat. The Frenchman has not used any of his boost yet. I suspect he will once someone catches up to him, if someone catches up to him, because he is looking fantastically quick. Boisel, fastest in the first sector this lap around, of course, aided by boost. Rumoured to be moving to the Project 4 team for next season, the most successful team in championship history, but without a win this season. It's Patrick Depaille who leads their charge today. However, Depaille has been greatly overshadowed by Wiesel so far this season. and Wiesel leads the hard tyre runners. And of course, expect the top 9 to go for 3 stops, and the hard tyre starters to go for 2, which means Wiesel could end up conceivably winning the race and championship as it stands. But there's a long way to go. We are only on lap 3 as Stefan Beloff and Georgia Pantano exchange 14th position. So we may have had some problems earlier on the broadcast. So while there's a little lull, well, there's not a lull in the action because Depay is about to get overtaken by Guerrero and possibly Stommelen. So let's have a look how that goes. Down into turn 1, Guerrero makes the move, but Depay fends off the German. Championship leader Rolf Stommelen leads by 1 point at present over the race leader Sebastian Bourdais. A further point back is Rad Dougal, who sits 13th, tucked up behind Johnny Adams' Aston Martin. And the final championship contender is Rainer Wiesel in 10th place. However, Wiesel is 15 points back, so needs to win the race effectively to take the championship. The other 3, whoever finishes ahead will win the title, and at the moment that is Bourdais. Stommelen is the form man, 4 wins in a row and 5 so far this season, but he is struggling today in a way that we haven't seen him struggle for quite some time. I hope that's covered everything that got cut out of the broadcast in the intro, but that is effectively the championship situation. As it stands, Bourdais would finish on 204 points to Stommelen's 186, winning the championship by 18 points. So, good news for the Frenchman and Supernova, who have never won a championship before. ARC and Project 4. ARC, of course, running Rolf Stommelen, and Project 4 running Rainer Wiesel. Champions in the past. Scuderia Scribante running Rad Dougal, never won the title before. In fact, Dougal was only ever meant to do the first 2 races of the season, but he proved to be so successful that he's been kept on for the whole time. And he may well come away with a shock title if things go his way today. But it's Bourdais out front, another fastest lap. He extends his lead. It's 2.3 seconds to Siffert. He's repeating what Stefan Beloff did last season. Beloff last season won from pole with the fastest lap, absolutely dominant. Not going so well this season for Beloff. He's stuck behind Johnny Adam along with Rad Dougal. I think Dougal's championship is disappearing fast. But the soft runners seem to be in a good position. They're all sort of holding their own, well ahead of the medium runners, which is not quite what I'd have expected. Depay leads the medium runners, purple sector 1. He's got Guerrero, Stommelen and Redon behind him. Then it's Salazar, who's just about holding on, and Wiesel and Chiva, the only 2 hard runners who are really still in this. It could come down to a battle between Wiesel and Chiva for the win, if the 2-stop strategy is better than the 3-stop, which could then see Eddie Chiva helping his teammate Rolf Stommelen win the championship. But we're only on lap 5, and it's a long lap as we come to the end of the second sector with Bourdais. Another purple sector. He is absolutely flying out front here. Two and a half seconds is the gap as we approach the end of lap 5. Still Bourdais from Siffert. Boisel has had a very poor season. He is 14th in the championship. He's only just gotten into double figures of points. It's been a very difficult season for his team, Fairfade, which has historically really been the best team in the championship. But a podium would go rather well for him today as Guerrero gets back past Depay. Can Stommelen follow him through into turn 1? He's not close enough. Guerrero and Depay swapping positions as Wiesel and Chiva just about hold on. Johnny Adams seems to be able to hold 12th place. I'm not quite sure how. His pace doesn't look too strong, but he's doing a very good job holding back Dougal, Beloff and Pantano, who really are having their races wrecked at the moment. Siffert, purple sector 1, but he's used boost to close in on Bourdais. Bourdais looks untouchable out front, but as ever in the AIF Star Championship, But for the last time, actually, in the championship, we have to worry about refuelling, because there is no in-race refuelling, and the teams always cut it as marginally as possible with their fuel loads. We've seen thrice this season that ARC have failed to fuel their cars correctly. Had they done so, Stomlin would be well away in front as the championship winner. But he has lost points as a result of ARC's incorrect fueling. Bourdais, with his early pace, one wonders if he may be a victim of that later in the race. At the moment, he holds a commanding position, 7.5 seconds back to Guerrero, who's the lead medium runner. And Guerrero now starting to take advantage of the good tyre life of that Mara Motorsport car. The Project 4 chassis not as easy on its tyres, and Depay looks like he's starting to struggle as he held DRS. It doesn't look like he has. He has not. Depay has been dropped by Guerrero, and here comes Stomlin. Stomlin making his first real position back. He's up to 6th now, having started 5th. Is this where his championship comes back alive? Let's see. Johnny Adam lose out to Dougal and Beloff. Pantano still stuck behind. It's not going to be a good end to the season for the Italian, but his teammate in 2nd place closes on Bourdais on that lap. It's starting to come back towards Siffer, who sets the fastest lap of the race last time around. In the first sector, the quickest drivers at the moment appear to be the hard runners, Wiesel and Cheever, Dougal and Beloff, all setting 32 flats in the first sector. Top 5 all in the 32 2s, 3s and 4s. So it's starting to come towards the hard tyres now as the stint goes on. Could this be the day that Wiesel completely upsets the odds, takes his first win of the season and the championship with it? It'd be a shock if he does. He's not in contention for any seats in the AICs and not touted to move up to the main championship. Bourdais, race leader, signs for Ligier. Rolf Stomlin will be racing for Alfa Romeo next season. Eddie Cheever may also have a seat, but that's yet to be confirmed. But Bourdais and Stomlin are both on the grid next season in the AIC. However, our champion, if this works out for Wiesel, may be without a drive. Lap 7 ends and lap 8 of 44 begins. Bourdais with a 44.7 puts 3/10 on Siffer. All the other soft runners are now in the 45s, and the guys behind, Guerrero, Stomlin and Depay, are all in the, they're actually lapping around the same as Bourdais. So Bourdais' lap times are still very good as Depay gets back past Stomlin into turn 1. This is going to be a battle that goes on and on, because I don't think either of them can catch Roberto Guerrero. Guerrero is really making good progress now, catching Desiree Wilson 3/10 on the last lap in the first sector, a 10th. So is Guerrero going to be able to start making progress? I don't think anyone expected the softs to be a usable tyre when we were looking at 40-degree temperatures. It's 37 at the moment. The softs are proving to be an extremely good tyre in the race. And the hard runners now are starting to converge a bit more together. Pantano's cleared Adam. Dougal and Beloff and Cheever and Wiesel are all on the back of Alicia Salazar, the final medium runner in the top 10. And they are actually really starting to make progress. Salazar's looking good on the back of Redon. But Depay, 2 personal best sectors for Patrick Depay, but he's not close enough to Guerrero. Guerrero's still quicker, and Guerrero still closes on the soft runs, and they're all on the boost now. They're all in the pits as well. The soft runners all enter the pits. Everyone's ploughing onto the boost, and that might be good news for Depay, who's about to take the race lead, I think. Yes, and Stomlin does hold DRS, so that's very fortunate for Rolf Stomlin. But Patrick Depay goes to the race lead. Roberto Guerrero does not defend with the boost. Depay takes the lead of the race. And we now have a pretty big train. It's all of the top 7. Beloff and Dougal and Pantano are separated. Pantano's really out of this now, I think. But anyway, Bourdais rejoins. It looks like he's only about 15 seconds off the lead. And that would put him about 12 seconds off Wiesel, who is doing a 2-stop. So it's still looking good for Bourdais. It's looking good as well for Siffert. And in fact, Wiesel and Wilson may also be in rather a good position. The soft tyre was not one that we expected to work. And yet, it could be the move, starting on the softs, that wins Sebastian Bourdais this championship. And Bourdais now making use of his boost that he hasn't used so far because he's been out in front. He's going after Martin Ravenstuk. And if he ends up on the back of him coming out the final corner, it'll be a nice bit of DRS. But I suspect he's not past him. So Bourdais sitting on the back of Ravenstuk, a personal best of the race. Well, best of the race so far, 35 flat in the middle sector, all down to boost, of course. He will pass Ravenstuk, but has Guerrero held on to Depailler? It seems that there's real trouble following here, and I think Depailler's pulled over a second on Roberto Guerrero. He has. So Guerrero, who looked so comfortable leading those medium starters, now loses out to Stommelen. And Stommelen is a man who we've seen repeatedly perform excellently. So I think Stommelen may well get after Depailler here and get into the lead. And if Stommelen can get into the lead, then the championship might be on for him. Bourdais, of course, makes light work of Ravenstuk, only 13 seconds off the lead. I'm not convinced that the 2-stop is going to work because they've got too much traffic at the moment. But let's see, Depailler still leads, Stommelen closing in rapidly. This is what we've known Stommelen for. If you put him in clean air, he's practically untouchable. So, takes 6/10 out of Depailler in the first sector. What can he do in the middle sector? Looks like he's going to gap Guerrero quite comfortably. And it looks like he's going to get into the lead. And of course, at a quarter distance, which is what lap 11 will be, that's when we'll expect the medium guys to come into the pits. And if Stommelen can be in the lead when he pits, that's going to be a very good position for him. But Depailler's come back in the middle sector. 2/10 he extends the gap by, both setting personal bests. Fantastic driving from both of these guys. Depailler may well get the gap out here. Guerrero as well struggling to hold on to Stommelen, which could put Redon up to third. But the hard guys, Wiesel and Cheever, are not making the progress they need to. Dougal's closing in. Belov seems to have completely evaporated pace-wise. Is this where Dougal pulls himself back into contention? Let's see. What can Stommelen do? Has he got DRS? He does not. And nor does Guerrero. So here comes Laurent Redon. Second supernova, teammate to Bourdais, takes third position from Roberto Guerrero. So Guerrero, it looked for a while that he was the premier runner on the mediums, and he's now down to fourth. His pace through the stint has got worse and worse. He's got his former teammate from last season, Salazar, all over the back of him. Wiesel and Cheever also there. But Wiesel and Cheever need to make progress. They're losing too much time. They are losing the best laps of their hard tyres, stuck in a train of medium runners. Bourdais, who set the fastest lap of the race last time around, is now stuck behind Johnny Adams. So his progress has been curtailed a little bit, but he's still over 6 seconds clear of the next guy who's made a pit stop, which is Joe Siffert. So, Depailler still leads. Stommelen can't catch him. Redon, Supernova, known for having good tyre life. Redon is looking to make progress, but it's not going to be enough as Wiesel and Cheever are going side by side here. Can the American make the move on the Swede? I think he might get it done here. Let's see. Yes, Cheever gets through, but Wiesel fights back. But I think Cheever's got the move done on acceleration. They're both going to get Salazar, and they're all on the boost now. They're all on the boost, but in the end, nothing happens. But that's going to be bad news for Cheever, because all these guys are going to pit. It's going to give Wiesel straight back the race lead, and it will be the race lead. And here comes Stefan Belov, as Belov fought his way back into contention. Don't think he quite has, as Cheever defends, but he's going to lose out. Belov does have DRS, as does Rad Dougal. So, apart from Pantano, who is valiantly fighting on, I must say, despite his unfortunate lack of DRS. It's bad news for Cheever, but the top 4 are all together. And what can Wiesel do out in front now? And they haven't lost much time by running longer. Depailler was on the verge of catching Wilson before they pitted. He's only about 3 seconds behind now. Salazar gets Guerrero in the pit, so it goes from bad to worse for the Colombian. His teammate, however, Stefan Belov, may be in contention for the race lead very shortly. Pai didn't have the best of stops by the looks of things, but he seems to be a couple seconds clear now of Stommelen. So it's looking good for Depay. I think he must have used some boost on pit exit, but I'm not certain. He does seem to be very close to Wilson, so the mediums are not working so well. The guys who started on soft seem to be struggling. The undercut's not too powerful. Is it going to be a 2-stop race? Is it going to work for the hard runners? Belov is unable to stick with Wiesel. Having set the fastest lap of the race last time round, he can't close on Wiesel, so it's going to be Eddie Cheever back up into second place. Rad Dougal holding on in what is 4th at the moment. If the race ended now, it would be Rad Dougal who won the championship on countback against Rainer Wiesel. They both have 190 points. And if the hard strategy is the favourable strategy, that is a very real possibility. Bourdais, though, comes across the line on the mediums, a second faster than Pantano, a second faster than Dougal, only 0.4 of a second faster than Wiesel, who is really motoring now, but generally it looks like Bourdais is the man to watch at the moment. He's going to catch his former teammate, Pantano. They were teammates last season. Pantano comfortably annihilated Bourdais, but that experience seems to have helped the Frenchman improve dramatically, as he is on the verge of winning the championship if he can just clear the 5 cars ahead. And he has been the quickest man today. Down the field, Depay seems to be edging towards Desiree Wilson, but not quick enough at the moment to get DRS. If you look at the first sector times, Bourdais 31.7, Stiff at 31.7, Boisel 31.7, Wilson 31.7, Depay 31.7, and Stommelen 31.7. They are all lapping, doing first sectors in the 31.7 range. There's nothing to choose between them. Even the guys who've got 3-lap younger tyres, they're not making any difference. And in the middle sector, Bourdais quick and Sifford's quick, but Boisel, Wilson, Depay are all lapping the same pace. Stommelen, however, seems to be on pace with Bourdais. So, can the German make his way back through this traffic? Back at the front, Rad Dougal takes Stefan Belov. Cheever gap Belov for DRS, and into turn 1, Dougal has passed Belov up to 3rd. So, if it finished now, Dougal would still be champion, and it would be by 3 points rather than on countback. So Rad Dougal could be in position to win the championship. And that would be a great shock to everybody, because the chances of him moving up to get a seat in the AIC are absolutely zero, I think. He's more likely to move on and go down a tier and conquer Formula Junior. He was not meant to be on this grid. He had a very good rookie season, finishing 7th in the points for Scribante, and then struggled massively last season with John Love alongside him. They both scored about 20 points before Stefan Belov joined the team mid-season and won several races. He completely blitzed the competition, and it looked like the end of Dougal's career until he got a brief reprise after a deal for another driver fell through. And now he may be on the verge of becoming the 5th driver to win the AIF Star Championship in its 6th season. Keke Rosberg, the only driver to win it twice. But lap 14, we may see some hard runners come in this lap, but I'd expect them all to be in next lap. Wiesel still leads, but I think Cheever is about to take the lead unless he pits. But I suspect he'll go longer, and he does. Cheever about to take the lead from Wiesel. Pantano has held Bourdais off, so Cheever takes the lead of the race. Wiesel on the boost, but can he hold it? Wiesel should hold, and he does. He gets back ahead with boost, and Beloff up to third, ahead of Dougal. But Dougal still in position to win the championship as it stands. Further back, Stommelen has caught Dupaille, and Stommelen takes 10th place in the final point from the Frenchman. Dupaille gets back ahead though. So these two now locked in battle for the final point, but Stommelen's done well there because he managed to get into DRS and get himself on equal terms boost-wise with Dupaille. So I think as the race goes on, it will be good news for Stommelen. Redon has actually managed to gap Salazar. Guerrero's completely fallen off the face of the earth, having looked like the best medium starter for quite some time. Siffert starting to come under pressure from Boisel, but Siffert's got an enormous amount of boost in reserve, which he will have to end up using at some point, but not at the moment. But they're so far behind Bourdais, who has already caught Panto. Let's see into the final corner. Will he make a move? It will be of little difference, because the top five are all about to peel into the pits. Bourdais actually lost about 0.4 of a second in the middle sector, stuck behind Pansno in the dirty air of the Techno, but he still leads comfortably over Siffert. I mean, the guys who started on mediums are just not making any time. They just aren't making any time on the guys who started on softs. Siffert, Boisel and Wilson, who Siffert has been very good this season, but Boisel and Wilson are not drivers that I would really have expected to be holding a comfortable position this long into the race, but they still are. However, Stommelen back past Dupaille, and this time it looks like he's going to have made that stick. So can Stommelen get after Wilson, drop Dupaille and get up into the top four? This is really, I think, the real meat of the race now as to what Stommelen can do. Wiesel and Cheever not far behind Guerrero, and with much fresher tyres, so I think we're going to start seeing them come forward. It's looking like it's going to probably be Wiesel versus Bourdais for the win here. And obviously, if Bourdais is on the podium, it doesn't matter what Wiesel does. Bourdais will win the championship. Unless he runs out of fuel. Let's see, that's still a possibility that is worth mentioning. The fuel of these cars is always at the absolute limit, and I suspect in a championship fight, it's been pushed as much as possible. So it could all unravel towards the final lap of the race for Bourdais. But he leads comfortably at the moment from Siffert, who hasn't used any of his boost. Boisel can't catch Siffert. Dupaille's, I think, been dropped by Stommelen. He has, and Stommelen's caught Wilson. So it's starting to come back to the medium starters. Stommelen looks like he's going to soon be within the DRS range of Desiree Wilson. And once he manages to do that, I expect him to pass the South African quite quickly. If he gets held up, it could bring Dupaille back into things. But I think Stommelen's dispatched Dupaille. He's having a much better race than usual, I have to say. But it looks like it could be Stommelen making moves now up the field. There's very little actually going on further back because the hard runners all seem to have been separated in their pit stops. Dougal has ended up the worst of the hard runners, aside from Pansno, sorry. But he's now much closer to Pansno than he was to Beloff before the stops. But let's watch Stommelen and Wilson. I think Stommelen's had a little dab on the boost because he is right behind Wilson now as we approach the end of lap 17. But Wilson gets on the boost in response, so Wilson is not willing to let the German championship leader make a move on her. Did 2 podiums this season, back to back in Istanbul and Spielberg. So Wilson has certainly had a erratic season with lots of big results and many non-scores. Today, however, looks more like being another big result than non-score, but her pace seems to be dropping a lot. Stommelen, in spite of that boost use, I think is going to be in her DRS here, and he is. Stommelen coming down the main straight. Is he going to make the move on Wilson? Ducks to the inside and an easy overtake. Stommelen up to 4th place, and now he's going to have to go after Boisel. I don't think Boisel will be too much of an obstacle. Once he gets Joe Siffert, things may be different, but Stommelen now up to 4th. But it does not matter. It does not matter what Stommelen does if Bourdais holds 1st position. That's any of the top 3, Bourdais, Stommelen or Dougal, if they win the race, they win the championship. They are so close, they're covered by 2 points, that if one of them wins, it doesn't matter what the other does. Bizel has to hope that the 2-stop strategy far outstrips the 3 stops. And if you look at the lap times at the moment, Bizel on a 41.2, Bourdais on a 41.8, Siffert on a 42 flat, and Boisel on a 42.1. So, yeah, Stommelen still quicker than Bizel, but that was with DRS, and Bizel did not have DRS. So it could still be a championship run for the Swede, which you would have got very long odds on that before this race started. Stommelen, however, looks like he's going to get Boisel this lap, and Wilson looking like she's going to be on the receiving end of Patrick Depailler. As Bourdais comes across the line to start lap 19, Siffert in the back of shot, Boisel 2. Boisel closing on Siffert, but Stommelen is here. Let's see, what can the German do? It's going to be 2 moves in 2 laps, and in the background, watch the background, you'll see Depailler as well. There goes Rolf Stommelen into 3rd, Patrick Depailler synchronised into 5th. Next lap, I think Depailler may be able to have a go at Boisel, given how quickly Stommelen caught Boisel. Siffert, with his huge reserve of boost, I think is going to prove a tougher obstacle, and it may halt Stommelen's charge. We're expecting the 4 soft starters, Bourdais, Siffert, Boisel and Wilson. They will come in on lap 20. The medium starters will come in on lap 22, and the hard starters will come in on lap 30. It's pretty uniform in terms of strategy here. So there's not really much guesswork, but Stommelen can't afford another lap behind Siffert. I think he's going to end up behind Siffert, and he's then going to end up under threat from Depailler. For further down the field, before we get to the DRS overtakes, I think Redon's doing a respectable job. He had a very good start to the season, disappeared for about 10 races, and he's had a respectable few drives recently, and today looks like being another one of those. Yeah, Bizel is quick, but he's not quick enough at the moment. He's quicker than the leaders, but he can't catch Roberto Guerrero. But speaking of the leaders, Siffert right in front of Stommelen. Stommelen may pass him in spite of Siffert's boost here. I think he's going to do it. Let's see. Stommelen makes the move, but here Siffert rams on the boost. Can he hold it? He's got to hold it past the DRS zone, past the acceleration zone. Joe Siffert does it, and he gets back ahead. And that's going to be costly for Stommelen, because he's not going to get DRS off Siffert this lap. But I think actually Siffert looks like he's gone far enough ahead that Stommelen should not be affected by the dirty air. He's still on the boost, in fact, so yeah. Siffert really, purple first sector, he gains 3 seconds on Bourdais. And Bourdais, of course, Bourdais may end up pitting into traffic here. Bourdais may end up pitting into the Pantano, Dougal, Adam area. And that might cause him some problems. Because if you're looking at the lap times at the moment, Bizel 7/10 of a second faster last time around, which indicates that Bourdais is losing time to the hard runners. As they are all on the boost again. Redon's past Wilson, but Wilson will be in this lap. Where will Bourdais rejoin? That'll be crucial, because he can't afford to lose time in traffic. As I think, is that red dot? Someone's on the boost. Is it? It's Wilson on the boost. So not a. Wilson's going backwards. I think actually Wilson's probably not going to score today, which only really matters for the team's championship. But for anyone other than ARC to win that, Scribanta need a 1-2. But anyway, Bourdais into the pitch and lead. Sif at pit, so no DRS for Stommelin. He'll lead Patrick Depailler. And then it will be Laurent Redon, the other supernova, often forgotten, but he is third. Salazar will be up to fourth with a gap of just over a second over Guerrero. And here's Wiesel down the pit straight in sixth. Where does Bourdais rejoin from the pits? It looked like an okay stop. Ahead or behind Dougal? That is the question. Behind Dougal. What about Pantano? Pantano is ahead of Bourdais, but Bourdais got the boost. Let's see. He's going to ram it down now. And he's going to overtake, I think, at least Pantano, and if not, Dougal as well. So, it's looking very good for Bourdais. He's no longer on the boost, but he's going to get Dougal pretty quickly. Siffert on the back of Adam, probably lose a bit of time as Ravenstuck tries to pass Wilson, demote her to last position. I think he's actually done it, so a decent job by the Croatian driver there. Stommelin leads then, 3 seconds over to Pai. Stommelin's really putting in the work now. Fastest lap of the race last time around. It is looking like Stommelin is coming back into this race. I did say before the race, not on broadcast, but I did say my podium guess was Stommelin, Bourdais and Depailler. We might get that come the end of the race, depending on how the two-stop works. But Wiesel, good lap times at the moment. Wiesel needs to start finding a little bit more time. But it doesn't matter because Guerrero will be in this next lap. So unless Wiesel's going to get DRS this lap, and I don't think he is, in spite of his 2 personal best sectors, he's not going to get that sort of benefit. And he doesn't. Bourdais, however, on the back of Rad Dougal, I think he might have... No, he doesn't. So Bourdais, not a stellar outlap, and Pantano, not quick enough either. So, not exactly what Bourdais was hoping for as Siffert makes a move on Johnny Adam at the back of the field. What a lap from Depailler. I don't know where he brought that out from because he didn't use boost and he's just pulled 7/10 in on Stommelin. Stommelin puts it up again in the first sector. But these guys going to be in this lap. Oh, well, actually, I was going to say they might have a problem with Johnny Adam, but Adam will be in this lap as well. So it's well close to Siffert that they rejoin. But Siffert's just put in a first sector that's nearly a second clear, 3/4 of a second clear of Stommelin. So they are definitely going to have to pass Joe Siffert again. I don't think Raul Boisel is quick enough. So that will be one fewer thing for Stommelin to worry about. But if he's behind Bourdais, Bourdais will win the title unless they're 9th and 10th. And as it stands, he will be behind Bourdais and Dougal and Wiesel. So it's going to be a very interesting... It's with Wiesel leading the hard runners and the hards working well, it's going to be a very interesting title fight as the top 5 now all file into the pits. I don't think Wiesel got held up too badly by Guerrero there. I don't think he's under threat from Eddie Cheever. He is, no, Cheever in the DRS. Here comes Cheever for the lead. I'm very much mistaken. Eddie Cheever's going to go to the race lead as he's not. Wiesel, a brilliant bit of defending there. Wiesel holds it on the outside, out-accelerates the Alfa Romeo driver. Brilliant bit of defence from Wiesel, but he is really under pressure now, and it could be Cheever who ends up helping his teammate win the title. But anyway, Cheever on the boost now, actually, so Cheever does go to the lead. Stommelin rejoins right on the back of Joe Siffert, and he boosts. He's going to go ahead. Stommelin passes Siffert, Siffert goes back ahead. They're going to exchange places. There's a lot of boosting further up the field as well. I think it's Dougal. Bourdais is struggling in this stint. Having gone back to medium tyres, he's really not made any inroads on Rad Dougal, and in fact, I think Pantano is actually starting to come back towards him. So it's not at all what Bourdais would have wanted in his hopes of winning the title. He needs clean air, and he needs to make sure he's got a gap that Stomlin's not going to overcome. Depailler in 9th, not really a threat anymore to Stomlin. I think it was a huge moment for the race when Stomlin cleared the Frenchman. Boiselle isn't really a threat to Depailler either, so Cheever seems to be checking out on Vizelle, but I think Vizelle's on the boost now. If he goes ahead before the DRS line, that'll be an appallingly bad bit of tactics, but he hasn't. Vizelle lines up Cheever perfectly, and the Swedish driver is going to retake the race lead now. And further back, the other ARC also involved in some moves. Stomlin with DRS on Siffert. Does he make the move? I think he will. He does. So not much of an obstacle, Joe Siffert. And Stomlin is only about 4 seconds behind Bourdais. We're expecting it to be lap 30. There's Bourdais on the boost to try and catch Dougal. That might help him quite a lot. We're expecting it to be lap 30 when the hard runners, the 2 stoppers, make their second and final stop. And that means they've got 6 more laps to go, and Bourdais is only 5 seconds off the lead. So I don't think it's going to work out for the hard runners. I just don't think they're quick enough at the moment. It's looking like Bourdais' day at the moment. Obviously, as it stands, Dougal will win the championship, but the second Bourdais passes Dougal, it will swing back to Bourdais for the championship. As it stands, actually, it'll be Stomlin who ends up 4th, having gone into the race as a championship leader, but I don't see it staying that way. German's been ferociously quick. 8 poles this season, a record in the championship. And yeah, he's closing on Pantano now as Cheever loses DRS to Vizelle, who sets his personal best lap of the race. Breaking DRS. Bourdais loses out to Dougal. The hard tyres are working. Bourdais can't make the time on Rad Dougal. Even though he closes 7/10 on that lap thanks to boost, in the final sector, Dougal pulls back a 10th and the gap extends. It's not working for the medium runners. They can't really get temperature into their tyres. And at the moment, Vizelle is quicker than Bourdais. This is an absolutely fascinating race because you normally expect, you know, people running long stints on the hards to have dramatic tyre fall off over the guys who are running a softer compound that's 5 laps younger. You would expect it to be really no contest. But at the moment, they're all lapping in the 30.8 range. The only people slower in the 30.9s are Cheever and Pantano, but Bourdais is lapping at the same pace as Vizelle, Beloff and Dougal. Stomlin, behind, is the quickest man in the first sector at the moment. And he's closing on Pantano, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to get DRS in this lap. But Stomlin's absolutely hauling himself back into championship contention here. He is the guy who is making the medium tyres work the best. He's the fastest in the first sector. The only man faster in the middle sector is Depailler, who was on the boost. But Stomlin is quicker than everybody ahead of him on this lap. He set the fastest lap of the race last time around. He is really motoring at the moment. But Vizelle goes across the line, 39.9, Cheever 40.1, Beloff 39.8, Dougal and Bourdais 40.1s, Pantano saying, and Stomlin 39.4. He is the fastest man on track by half a second, excluding Patrick Depailler, who was on the boost for a lot of that lap, and just lapped the 38.6, which is the fastest lap of the race so far. But at the moment, it's looking like Stomlin is putting in the time he needs. He only needs, well, I say he only needs to catch Bourdais, but Vizelle, I tell a lie. He does only need to catch Bourdais, because if Stomlin can finish 5th, even with Vizelle winning the race, that would be enough for Stomlin to win the championship. assuming that Bourdais and Dougal are... Assuming that Bourdais is behind him. So if Stomlin can make 2 positions, Stomlin will win the championship on count back in a 3-way tie with Dougal and Wiesel. But it is so close, and the whole thing can change on the slightest event. But Stomlin closing on Pantano now. They're all starting to close, actually. Wiesel's had a very poor middle sector, a very poor first sector as well. He's lost half a second so far on this lap to Cheever. Cheever's now starting to put in the times, and he might be within DRS range here. Bourdais' pace is terrible. His pace is evaporating. He cannot catch Rad Dougal. What does Cheever do? Is he in DRS? Cheever's not in DRS, so brilliant final sector from Wiesel. He pulls out 0.2 to get the gap above a second. Beloff is starting to come good as well. He's got good tyre life, and here comes Stomlin on Giorgio Pantano. And he makes the move for 6th place. So Pantano, who lost out earlier behind Johnny Adam, the slowest of the hard runners. As a result, he's losing time. His pace actually isn't bad. I say the slowest of the hard runners, but he was actually quicker than the 2 leaders on that last lap. Stomlin now has in his sights Sebastian Bourdais. Bourdais now really getting on the boost. He realises this is trouble for him. Apparently Depay's second stop was very poor, I'm hearing, which is why he lost so much time to Stomlin. But even with that, as in a straight head-to-head, Stomlin has been far quicker today. However, Bourdais cannot afford to lose track position to Stomlin. The second he loses track position, it is championship over for the Frenchman. He needs to get past Dougal, and he needs to do it now. He's close enough. He used his boost in the first sector. He's matched Dougal in the middle sector. The gap is 0.67. Dougal's going to need to find a third of a second in the final sector to have any chance here, and really, he's got to do it. I think Bourdais is close enough. Now we might be seeing the fall off of the hard tyres, but they're still lapping in the 39s. No, they're not. They're not. They're no longer in the 39s. None of the top 4 in the 39s, and Bourdais with a 38.8 passes Dougal. Stomlin with a 38.2. Fantastic lap time. But the hard tyres are starting to fall off now as Bourdais moves past Dougal, and now, as it stands, Bourdais would be the champion by 1 point over Wiesel and another point over Stomlin. It would be 191, 190, 189. This is truly fascinating. So, Bourdais needs to start making progress. If he can get Stefan Beloff, I think he'll feel comfortable with that. But Stomlin, ever quick, closing behind on Rad Dougal. He did 0.6 in the first sector. Stomlin is here. It's really converging nicely. 3 of the 4 championship contenders all together on track. Wiesel, yet to win a race this season, is looking on course potentially to get his first win of the season, but he needs other events to go his way, and there aren't enough drivers in play to allow him the championship success. He needs more drivers in play to block Bourdais, but Bourdais he's right on the back of Stefan Beloff. Stomlin's on the back of Dougal. Dougal would do well to boost here, but he's not going to because the AI have absolutely not an ounce of tactical sense. Bourdais coming in for third now. He's going to pass Beloff, and at the same time we're going to see Stomlin pass Rad Dougal. So, now it's very clear Bourdais would be champion if the race finished as it is now. Siffert further back past his teammate Pantano. I'm surprised Boisel's actually still holding on to the final point ahead of Redon. But, and Guerrero's putting an absolutely shocking performance, but back at the front, it's all very tight. The top 6 covered by less than 5 seconds. Cheever's helping his teammate here. Cheever's boosting away from Bourdais to try and get up to the back of Rainer Wiesel. Wiesel has put in an absolutely stellar drive as Stomlin passes Bourdais on the boost, not wanting to waste time. Here comes Beloff back, though, on the boost again, ahead of Stommelen. And it's all starting to concertina. They're all using the boost. Now, if Wiesel can drop Cheever, and Bourdais can get into the DRS of Cheever, this is going to cause Rolf Stommelen's pace to stagnate for a lap. And I think Bourdais might just have the pace here to catch Eddie Cheever, in which case there would be a 5-car DRS train. And it would stop. It might not stop him. Here comes Stommelen on the inside of Beloff, heading towards the final corner. I think he's going to do it, German on German. Beloff's not known for his defensive driving. I think he's going to do it on the run into turn 1 regardless, as Bourdais makes the... immediately Stommelen out-drags Beloff, and Bourdais up to 2nd position. So, what's Cheever going to do? Is he going to help his teammate? Is he going to move over and let him past? I don't think he has the capacity to do that. And this could be very costly for Stommelen. He's going to get balked by his teammate. It's like watching Gonzalo Rodriguez again, back in Season 2 at Silverstone, where he blocked Keke Rosberg. But Bourdais right on the back of the race leader now as Cheever blocks his teammate and someone's on the boost. I think it's Bourdais. Bourdais not hanging around. But he passes, as soon as he passes Wiesel, Wiesel gets on the boost, and Wiesel has a huge amount of boost to let loose. He's going to get well up the road. He might get a couple seconds up the road. This could be crucial. I mean, Wiesel would do well to win the race, but with Bourdais and Stommelen 2nd and 3rd, when it comes to the championship, it's going to be, it's not going to be for Wiesel. But I think Stommelen's quick enough now to catch and pass Bourdais. I think Stommelen is quick enough now. Catch and pass Bourdais. He's within DRS. He's put a better middle sector in. Fastest lap last time around. I think this is Stommelen's championship now. He's come back into it, and I think he's going to do it. He's going to cruise past. Wiesel enters the pit, but Stommelen's about to cruise past Bourdais and take the race lead. And he does it. Ziffert back up to 3rd. Been a while since we mentioned him, but he's running quite a nice race. Depay 4th. Wiesel back up to 5th, but under threat from Redall. Where will Wiesel rejoin? He's going to be behind Guerrero, 10th position. So they are still at the back, but without a stop to go. I think Wiesel might hold on to win this race. But I think Stommelen has quite easily got this championship now. He's going to have fresher tyres than Bourdais. He's got the track position. I don't think he's going to be able to hold on, is Bourdais. Let's see. Stommelen is gapping him. A second, obfuscated by DRS in the first sector, but Bourdais is lapping slower than Ziffert, slower than Wiesel. He's really fading away. He's lost 6/10 in the middle sector. Yeah, it's going to be Stommelen now, I think, quite comfortably. I can't really see a way that he loses this, because he'd already cleared Rad Dougal. Dougal was really the joker in the pack on the hard tyres with a real chance of the title, but Dougal hasn't been fast enough. So, unless there's some sort of dramatic disaster, it's going to be Stommelen, I think, for this. As Salazar makes his way past Desiree Wilson, and Guerrero's there too. Bourdais going to pit this lap. He'll have a 1-lap undercut on Stommelen, but it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough to get him back ahead, given the undercut's been pretty weak anyway. Yeah, 2 seconds. Stommelen needs to have a dreadful pit stop for Bourdais to have any hope of reclaiming the lead. It's been a good fighting drive from Stommelen to get back into contention. He may rejoin behind Beloff, though, but we'll see. But I just don't think it matters, because although Wiesel is a championship contender in theory, he's reliant on Stommelen finishing outside the top 5, and that simply isn't going to happen anymore. And Bourdais loses another half second in the middle sector. Those tyres have really gone off. So, Bourdais will be in the pits, as will Siffert, as will Boisel. Boisel holding on well. Wilson too will be in the pits. And where does Bourdais rejoin? Let's have a look at this stop. Will it be quick or not? We've seen a couple of poor stops today. That doesn't look like a good stop for Bourdais, but anyway. He's going to rejoin. He looks like he might be ahead of Wiesel. Not quite. Here comes Wiesel, just past. And there goes Cheever. It's a long pit exit, but he's ahead of Stefan Beloff. So, I suspect when Stommelen pits, it will simply be a straight fight between him and Wiesel. And I think Stommelen's going to make it 5 victories in a row, which really should have been winning every race this season, but at least he's finally got it together in the back end of the season, and he's going to get the title for it. I think it'll end up with the exact same points total that Carlos Reutemann ended up with when he won the championship, which would be 205. And if Stommelen does win today, it would be his 5th race win in a row, which would be the record. The record is 4 at the moment, which obviously Stommelen holds, having done 4. Keke Rosberg and I believe Luke Janssen as well both did it in Season 2 of the championship, winning 4 races. A season when those two drivers won 7 races apiece. Stommelen pits from the lead though. Where will he rejoin? I suspect he'll be around his teammate. His lap times have been good. I think he'll be in a very good position. Here comes Depay and the rest of the top 5. So, Stommelen, he's going to still be in the lead, isn't he? Here comes Stommelen. Wiesel. Can he get ahead? Wiesel needs to be ahead, but he's just... Yeah, Stommelen on the boost, and they're both on the boost. That'll do well for the tyre warm-up for Stommelen. Wiesel's got to use his hotter tyres to stick to the back of that ARC car. But it doesn't really matter in the end, because... yeah, Stommelen's unless he runs out of fuel, Stommelen's going to win the title. But I think the most likely candidate for running out of fuel is Bourdais. He was electric in the early part of the race. But will Wiesel hold on? If Wiesel gets ahead, there might be something to fight for. But at the moment, I'm very much putting my bets on Rolf Stommelen, race winner and championship winner. Yeah, he's lost time, a lot of time. Half a second in the middle sector, yeah. Stommelen is getting out with absolute immediacy. Wiesel cannot hold on, and it will be a winless season for Project 4, who have never endured that in their history. Even in their dreadful 3rd season, where they finished 5th in the championship, they still won 2 races. So Wiesel will lead them to their first ever winless season, unless something happens. Siffert on the back of his teammate, as is Depay. Here comes Depay, could be a factor, as Siffert clears Pantano. And Depay is in tow. It's been a good season for Siffert. He has scored in every race, but he's never finished better than 3rd. It's been one of consistency rather than outright pace. Pantano's won 2 races and should have won more. but Siffert, a consistent driver with more points. And he looks like increasing that total today. But he must be careful. Eddie Cheever could pass him in the championship, but those are minor placings. They're all on the boost again, but once again, it still makes no difference. Stommelen leads comfortably from Wiesel, from Cheever, from Bourdais, who simply can't get the tyres turned on in the way that Stommelen's been able to. I think it also helps that the ARC and the Project 4 are the two best cars. The Supernova is not of the same calibre. But Bourdais has done a very valiant job to bring it down to the last race and to look like he might win it for so long. But with 9 laps to go now. Stommelen is increasing his lead, and Cheever's about to make it a 1-2. Cheever passes Wiesel, it's now 1-2. As Beloff passes Bourdais, it's really going wrong for Frenchman, who looked like he would be the champion. Early in the race, he was the fastest man. Now he's down to 5th, and he's going to have to watch out for Rad Dougal. But he gets on the boost and repasses Stefan Beloff. Wiesel does not seem to have an answer to Cheever. Previously, when Cheever passed Wiesel was very much able to get him back immediately, but he does not have an answer anymore. Is it going to be another 1-2 for ARC? Cheever is checking out against Wiesel. This was the top 3 in the last race. It was Stommelen, Cheever, Wiesel. I think it tells you quite a lot about how good the ARC car is. That they're going to get back-to-back 1-2s. I can't remember the last time someone did that. And Wiesel completing the podium. But he's lost DRS, and Beloff is about to pass Bourdais again. Not good for Bourdais, as Dougal is slipping into the clutches of Siffert. Wiesel on the boost, but at the wrong part of the lap. You needed to do that half a lap ago, my friend. Otherwise, yeah, you're just going to lose the time again. Wiesel is doing actually a very good job to hold on to the final point, I must say. Under threat from Redon, Redon looked great early in the race and has completely disappeared, which is the same thing that's happened to Bourdais. So I think that says a lot about the Supernova's car, the characteristics of that chassis. Stommelen, though, continues to extend his lead. We have very much gone from what was poised to be a fantastically exciting championship finale to one that was prematurely decided, it seems. Stommelen now is running out of fuel, and it would not be the first time that had happened this season. So ARC have a very good track record, better than any of the other teams when it comes to failing to fuel their cars correctly. And Stommelen sets, I think, the fastest, his personal best and the fastest final sector of anyone. But yeah, ARC absolutely checking out now. Simply unstoppable team. Be their second championship, Riccardo Patrese, winner in season 3. And ARC, of course, took the team's championship that season as well. That was another finale, which was a multi-way fight. 3 drivers could have won the title going into the last race, but we had that last season too, actually. This is the second 4-way title fight we've had. because last season we had one as well. And just like last season, it's going to be the man who has gone into the race as championship leader who is going to come out as the champion. Beloff holding on to the back of Bourdais. Bourdais can't get up to the back of Vizelle. He's not quick enough. And even further back, Siffert can't catch Dougal. I think the best chance of a move being done is Redon Boiselle for the final points position. Either slowly closing on Beloff, on Stomlin, but not enough. Beloff passing Bourdais, but not quick enough to catch Vizelle. As the final points position is about to change, as Redon makes the move on Boiselle, and they're both on the back of Pantano now, so I think Pantano is going to struggle to hold on to that. Depay trying to get after Siffert, but not really able to do anything. Yeah, it's the battle for third that something might happen in. But yes, ARC going to be comfortable winners of both championships come the end of this. Because as it stands, Stomlin will be champion by 14 points. 15 points, I think. And ARC will be champions by thick end of 50 or 60 points, so if not more. They're so far ahead now. Vizelle, 5 seconds he's dropped. Chivas doubled the gap pretty much. I mean, frankly, impressive, but disappointing for the championship fight. It would be better if it was still alive with 5 laps to go. But with 5 laps to go, Beloff and Bourdais continue to battle for 4th. And Bourdais looks like he might just have got Clyde over the nose. He's dropped time through the final corner. So he's not going to get a run at Reiner Vizelle. As Beloff goes back ahead, Boiselle, he's going to have a run back at Redon. He can't make it stick into turn 1. Yep. 3 personal best sectors from Stomlin. He is unbelievably fast. Even if he runs out of fuel, he's got it. It's Bourdais who's the threat. He's got to lose 7 seconds. This might be the best car we've ever seen. This Auto Delta Alfa Romeo. This might be the best car we've ever seen in this championship. I can't really recall any team producing something like this. I mean, Janssen's 7 wins in Season 2 were probably the closest thing we've seen to it previously. But yes, they are unbelievably quick as Stomlin continues to extend his lead. As Vizelle as well continues to gap Beloff, and Bourdais is now dropping back from Beloff. Beloff, see, it seems to have come towards the hard tyre runners. But Bourdais, under braking, seems to have it pegged. And he might just get in here, and he does get in here. Depay, no, I thought Depay might have a run. He doesn't. Bourdais has a run on Beloff, and he gets back past. It's just going to be these two swapping positions, it seems, as Redon gets back past Boiselle. Supernova seems to be involved in most of the action at the moment. Vizelle is holding on. I don't think Bourdais is going to... I don't think... Because it's not as long a hard stint as they've done previously. It's 14 laps rather than 15. I think that Viesel's going to hold on to third here. I don't think Bourdais has got the pace to be able to pass him. Beloff starting to fall back a bit. People are on the boost now as Beloff goes on the boost. He doesn't pass Bourdais. They are inside each other and now alongside each other. Beloff on the inside into the final corner. He's going to back out of that one. And Bourdais holds the position just for the moment because Beloff is about to pass him down the pit straight. And there he goes. Antonio in 9th, about to lose out to Redon. So, one Supernova loses a place. Redon makes another place up to 9th. It's been an okay drive from Redon. I think the aside from Aston Martin, who are not unexpectedly terrible, I think the real drive of shame of the race has to go to Roberto Guerrero, who looked at one point to be comfortably the quickest medium starter, and he's absolutely nowhere now. He's 13th. Now the lowest of the medium starters, and he's still behind Boisel. So really disappointing. Bourdais on the boost, gets back past Beloff, but he's not going to get close enough to Vizel. They're swapping with boost, they're wasting their boost, and neither of them are going to close up to the Project 4 ahead of them. Vizel it'll be a commendable 4th in the championship without a race victory. Points in every race. The only drivers to have managed that will be Bourdais, Siffert and Vizel, because Stommelin's obviously failed to finish twice, Cheever's repeatedly failed to finish, Beloff failed to score in Germany, Dougal failed to score in Baku, and yeah, Depay repeated failures to score out of Redon and Pantano. So there are 3 drivers who scored in every race. 2 of them battling for the final podium spot. Is Bourdais close enough here? I think he's had a poor final. No, he is. Bourdais in DRS. I did not expect this to happen. What can he manage to do? Does he make the move into turn 1? He does. Bourdais up into 3rd place. So, first 2 drivers in the championship will both end up on the podium then. If, that is, if it stays like this. I don't think there's anything else being fought for apart from 9th position, because the Ferrofade is such a dreadful car that it's nowhere near the points anymore. Siffert may come under threat from Depay, but the real battle is, of course, Bourdais versus Vizel versus Beloff. Bourdais is checking out now, but I think that's just the effect of clean air. And here comes Vizel on the boost. I think he's going to go back ahead, which I think is going to be a completely terrible... No, it is. He does not. He does not go ahead. So Vizel, at the start of the final lap, is going to take back 3rd place. And I don't see Bourdais getting back past him without another DRS zone. So it looks like it will be Stommelin, Cheever, Vizel again. Rolf Stommelin now rounds the final corner to start the final lap, which will be the lap that leads him to championship victory in the AIF Star Championship. Fastest lap currently held by Laurent Redon, so he won't get that on. Achiever in 2nd. Bourdais about to lose out to Vizel. 3rd place for Rainer Vizel. Bourdais down to 4th, ahead of Stefan Beloff. Depay takes Joe Siffert, having set a purple final sector, up to 7th for Depay. Decent run. Of the people who started on the mediums, he is doing 2nd best to Stommelin, just as his teammate is doing 2nd best to Cheever of the people who started on the hard. So it's the clear hierarchy. ARC have swept this championship, even with several retirements from fuel miscalculations. They are going to comfortably win both championships today. Stommelin coming to the end of the 2nd sector. It doesn't matter what his lap times are anymore. He leads by 5 seconds, the German, in his first season in this championship, and he will be a works Alfa Romeo driver next season, partnering their previous AIF Star champion, Riccardo Patrese, who won it back in Season 3, and it's going to be a pretty formidable lineup if this form is anything to go by. On to the back straight. Stommelen comes now towards the final couple of corners. It looked unlikely at one point. He lost positions at the start. Bourdais was out in front, but Stommelen has fought back fantastically, and he comes across the line to win the race and the championship. Stommelen wins in Bahrain. Cheever is second. Bizel takes third as Beloff passes Bourdais at the final corner. Across the line, Beloff fourth, Bourdais fifth. Brad Dougall holds on to sixth ahead of Depailler, Siff at eighth, Redon ninth. Antonio completes the points just ahead of the two Ferrafate. Boisel still beating Salazar, Guerrero 13th, Wilson 14th. Johnny Adam will be 15th, and Martin Ravenstuck will be last, but that's not totally unexpected. They are generally the weakest team that we have in this championship. A failure to score all season, I'm afraid, for Aston Martin. But the final championship standings will be as follows, with victory for Stommelen, fifth in a row, a record-breaking victory for the German in what will be, of course, his last race of the championship. He finishes on 205 points, which is a pretty phenomenal effort. I think it's the same number of points that Reutemann had when he won it 2 seasons ago. Beloff nabbing, because Bourdais again is caught sleeping on the last lap. Actually, it's the third time in the second half of the season he's been caught sleeping on the last lap. And actually, had he managed to not lose those positions in Spa, Catalonia and Sakhir, he would have won the championship. So, a bit disappointing for Bourdais there, but he will still finish runner-up, and he will still have a drive next season for the Ligier team, who he will drive for in place of René Arnoux, who has been with Ligier since its inception, but has been finally asked to move on. So, the championship goes as follows. Stommelen wins with 205 points, ahead of Bourdais with 189. Dougall, an absolute shock to everyone, third in the championship with 186 points. Vizel comes home fourth, points in every race, no race wins with 180. Stefan Beloff, a solid fifth place with 147 points. After his fourth runner-up spot of the season, Eddie Cheever takes sixth, beating Joe Siffert on countback, both of them with 115 points in the championship. Roberto Guerrero, with only 5 points from the final 5 races, finishes 8th with 91 points. Antonio, 9th, 87 points, a disappointing result for him in this championship. Depailler rounds out the top 10 in the championship with 72 points. Desiree Wilson, 2 podiums, but only 58 points, is 11th. Licio Salazar, 37 points, 12th of the championship, just beats Laurent Redon, who had 35. To finish 13th. Only 9 points for Raoul Boisel. Single figures. A very disappointing season for him. He must improve next time. 15th, Johnny Adam. And last, of course, Adam's teammate, Martin Ravenstuck. Failure to score for Aston Martin. Their best result of the season. 2 12th places in Istanbul and Spa. Adam could have scored in Spa had it kept raining, but unfortunately it just never seems to go the way that Aston Martin want it to go. The team's championship, then, is another dominant display from ARC, who come home with 320 points, which is a phenomenal effort. They beat Project 4 into second place, a perennial front-runner. They have 252 points, but no race wins for the first time in their history, but 68 points the margin from ARC to Project 4. Scribante, third in the championship, 244 points, beating Mara Motorsport, who made their debut this season with 238 points. Supernova, in spite of Bourdais nearly winning the title, only fifth in the team's championship with 224 points. Techno, sixth, champions with Nannini last season, but 6th this season, 202 points, showing just what a good job the Italian did to win the title last season. And yes, we had 6 teams with over 200 points, and then 7th, a huge fall off down to Ferrafate, who had 46 points. And then, of course, last, Aston Martin, yet to score. So, that brings to the end this rather fantastic season of AIF Star Racing after the Hungarian round, where Rolf Stommelen was not even in the top 5 in the championship. No one could have predicted his run of 5 race wins to take the championship from Sebastian Bourdais, but both of those drivers will end up racing in the AIC next season. Rad Dougal, a valiant effort in third, will not return, nor, I expect, will Rainer Wiesel. Stefan Beloff will aim to win the AIF Star Championship next season, and maybe some of the others might find a berth in the AIC. However, from this broadcast and this season, it's congratulations to Alfa Romeo and Rolf Stommelen, and it's see you next time for the